Hi, Rick. Welcome to my first
Hey, Rich.
podcast. Hi. So we have
Honored to be
Rick.
your first guest.
Thank you. So we have Rik Offenberger with us. He's the editor in chief of the G-Man Comics and also a writer. So can you tell us why now are you expanding the G-Man universe?
Well, we had started with one title. I had an idea that I wanted to do for a team book that was kind of based on Mission Impossible, where you'd have a large pantheon of characters, and the leader of the team would pick different members. You know, like Mr. Phelps did at the beginning of Mission Impossible, where you'd go through all the different pictures of the different people, and you'd pick the right people for the right mission. And so the idea would be the cast would be very large. And it took me 30 years from the time I started trying to publish my own comic till I actually published it. So we have a level where backers can join the comic, and they can have their characters in the comic too, because it's done in a team setting. So that was our first issue. And I was working on that with Gilbert Monsanto doing the art. And Eric Bennett and Jim Burrows were my partners in this. And so while we're working on that, Alan came and showed me a cover that he was doing for us and on issue 2. And he said, I can do some interiors. And so he started working on issue 2 while Gilbert was working on issue 1. And both issues were done. And so we went to do our first Kickstarter with 2 issues for issue 1 and issue 2. And that did well. And so we reinvested the money from the Kickstarter, since we'd already got issue 1 and issue 2 done, into the next round. And so we just kept expanding. Our last Kickstarter had 11 comics in it, which is a lot of comics to do all in one Kickstarter. But if we did 11 monthly comics and you got a new comic every month, you'd be paying a ton of money in shipping. And if you're in Canada, it's an unbelievable ton of money to ship every single month, 11 different comics. But you can put 6 comics in a shipper and ship them for the exact same price that you can ship one comic. And so by shipping them, we actually remove the expense of shipping your comics. We do 2 Kickstarters a year, and it ranges anywhere from 2 to was the smallest we've done. And we've done that more than once. And then up to 11 is the largest we've done, and we've done that twice also. But whatever's ready to go at 6 months is when we do it. And we do a Kickstarter every February and every August.
Yep. Okay. Are the G-Men getting some new members too? Are you going to be
G-Men
adding
are
some new
always getting
members
new
to the G?
members from in addition to the backer characters, we're always creating new characters. And, it's me and Eric and Gilbert creating new characters. Jim has retired. And so it's just the 3 of us creating new characters. In addition to the backer characters, we just had in G-Man, in the Simon and Kirby book, which is the one that features the G-Men, we had Alpha, which is somewhat of a companion character to our atomic bombshell. And it reveals more in the way of what we're doing there. In Sergeant Flag, we had Dan Hagen join. And in addition to that, we also brought in the Golden Age Captain Battle, and because they were both Rocketeers. And the fun part with Captain Battle is all of his lines were only the Golden Age lines from the Golden Age comics, which are a little stiff compared to modern dialogue. And so we had the characters play off that too. We brought in Fruit Fly, which is a flying villain in this issue, but eventually he's going to, in future issues, try and redeem himself. But we're always creating something new. And I have characters called Lynx, which is a couple, and Lynx ends with an X, and it's actually like deer. It's both singular and plural. And so there are 2 of them, and it's called Lynx. But for me, it kind of gave a Catman kitten vibe, but they're both adults. And so in a future issue, we're going to have Catman and Kitten guest star to kind of show that off a little more.
Right. Okay. Who was the first G-Man member created?
I think that was me, and that was probably 30 years ago. 33 years ago, I think it was. I had a comic shop, and one of my customers was drawing one page of our comic every week, and we were putting it into the pull list. And so if you had a pull list every week, you got a photocopy page of our comics there for 20 weeks. And so we never actually published the comic. I had gotten divorced. In the divorce, we'd lost the shop, so I never actually got around to publishing the comic. And I had thought that when I had the comic shop, between the shop and the conventions we went to, we could sell the minimum. And I believe the minimum was one case, which was 500 comics. And so that was a lot of comics to move, especially as an indie publisher. But I figured I went to enough conventions, at a convention every weekend, and if they were signed and if we talked to the people, maybe we could move 10 at each convention. We could move some in the store, and this wouldn't bankrupt us. This would be a profitable operation. But without the store, we never did that. Well, 30 years later,
No.
I'm publishing G-Man comics, and Lynx is one of the characters. So we took that original art. I had one of our colorists professionally color it. I had originally labeled it with, lettered it on my Macintosh. So they removed all the lettering I had done and professionally lettered it. And so it came out looking as professional as we could do. And that was the first character we ever published. So it is over 30 years old. And that was our Lynx remastered special. And so I guess that was the first character. Sergeant Flag is also a character I created about that time. I have original drawings that I had done of the character. My art is not wonderful. It was very stiff and static, but we brought him along into the comic. And then when we actually published the first issue of Sergeant Flag, in the first few pages, you have him in the original uniform, and then he transitions into a more modern uniform.
Right. So, how has the agent changed over the years?
Well, I mean, when it was a fan character originally, and I had used him as a letterhead character for First Comics News, and I had an artist in Hawaii who was drawing a series of mock covers with him, so that there were no comics. It was just a series of pieces of art that looked like covers, and and he was red at the time. And then when we launched the Kickstarter and started actually publishing him, we tweaked him a little, and so that's how he came up to his modern look. And we had stars and stripes on the shield that's attached to his chest, and we changed that to an eagle. And the character had been red, and we changed him to white. But a lot of the characters in the G-Men are white in uniform. It just lends itself to that. Like the white hats, like the cowboys.
Yeah. And Sister Flag, is she a popular character for you?
Sister Flag is a fun character. She's one of the characters that spins out of Sergeant Flag. It's his sister, and she's a fun character. She has a series or a feature in our G-Men United, and she's been a supporting character in the Atomic Bombshell series. We're really trying hard to make sure that while she's very, very similar to Sergeant Flag, and she is in fact his sister, that she isn't the exact same character, just in female. And so we try and give her a little bit of different personality. But it's fun to do female characters. It's fun to do male characters. It's nice to split that up. And, we're having a good time. We got another feature with
Great.
Sister Flag in the works for the next round, and so we like her.
Yep, I did too. So, Atomic Bombshell, is she the most powerful member of the G-Man?
She's the most powerful member in potentially in our universe. The idea is that she's based on Captain Atom, the blue costume, the atomic, bomb on explosion on her chest. Um, but she is explosive, and so they discovered she was a superhero, or she had these powers as a child, and that is based on the Twilight Zone episode. If you remember the episode with Billy Mummy, where everyone's scared to tell him anything because they're afraid that he will put them in the cornfield and turn them into monsters. So here, they're afraid she's going to throw a temper tantrum, become radioactive, and kill everyone around her. And so no one tells her no growing up. And so she grows up in a very different environment. And so we actually do that story where the aliens come to conquer Earth, and she irradiates him to death. And then the other aliens come to arrest her. And when she goes to stand trial, she gets mad and blows up their planet. And with Dark Phoenix, they had the story where they blew up. She killed all these people, and then they killed her off. But she got better. In our universe now, they're having to deal with the repercussions of how people view her, of what it's like to work with her after she's killed all these people, of what it's, well, not people but aliens, and how the other aliens feel about that. Because she's a more powerful character, she lends herself more to a sci-fi aspect.
Right. Okay, what is the Indie Girls about? Did I come through?
No, I'm
You have
sorry,
a
it
title
lagged a little.
called Indie Girls?
Oh, Indie Girls was an interesting project. Gilbert Monsanto has been doing this art on the internet for a long, long time. He used to work for Whilce Portacio in the Image days. And he had done a series in the Philippines called Indie Girls, where he had done a series of pinup books. And so they all were just pinup pages of different girls in Philippine indie comics. And he had posted it on the anniversary about this, that he had done this. And I said, we should really do that. And so he got a variety of different indie creators, and they wanted their characters in the book. And he did a variety of our characters too. And so they sponsored a pinup page, and he put it in the book. And so it's very, very pretty. And it's all pinup girl style with a variety of different superheroes. Well, obviously girls. We had done a pinup book before where we had done Endless Summer, where it was like the Marvel Illustrated, where they were all in swimsuits. So this was kind of similar, but all featuring girls in their actual costumes.
Yep. All right. You mentioned the links before. How did you decide to have two people under the one title in the one comic, but both going by the same kind of name?
You're talking about two in one?
The Lynx character. How
Oh,
did you
links. Oh,
decide
I'm
to
sorry,
have
links. Yes, yes,
two
yes. I'm sorry.
people going under that one name?
Well, I had done the original links with just the male character, but when we decided to expand, I wanted a Batman and Robin type vibe with the characters. That was the kind of story I wanted to do, and so this allowed for that with like a different spin on it. There was the original Catman and Kitten, she was a child, was a child sidekick, and I wanted more of the Dick Grayson, college student type thing. So she's a kindergarten teacher, and he does personal security, and then together they become links. The story was that she's a judge's daughter, and she was kidnapped, and he was shot as they were at a club, and Sergeant Flagg comes along and saves them. And then after they both recover from this, they've decided that they aren't going to be victims anymore, and they're going to help other people who are victims. And so they patrol the streets trying to protect the innocent. And so it makes for some fun stories. And I like the cat-like characters. And I thought that since we're already doing Sergeant Flagg is like a solo character, and this gives us a dynamic duo type character story. And then when you get to the Simon and Kirby book, it becomes a team book. It's like our version of the Avengers or the Justice League.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have the dynamic between
You have
their
a character
relationship
called
because
Mummy.
they have a nice relationship. Mummy Girl is fun.
Yes, I do.
Mummy Girl is literally an Egyptian mummy. And in the story, they cast a spell and revive her and in the museum. And then she has a variety of magical powers, which is why they revived her and want to control her. And she actually lives in the museum. She has nowhere to go. She doesn't belong in our time. And her mummy wrappings are coming off because she's a million years old. She uses a lot of her own power to try and hold herself together because, again, her body would naturally want to decay. But we use her also to introduce some magic into the series for the times we need that. She opens portals into different places. And so we did a crossover with Tomorrow Girl, and she was able to open up a portal into Tomorrow Girl's world. And if you've ever seen Tomorrow Girl, it's in a manga format, and our characters are in standard superhero format. So when they went into her world, they were still standard superheroes in a manga world. And when she came into our world, Tomorrow Girl was still drawn manga. It wasn't like it was a different point of view. That's what they looked like in their universes. And so that was kind of fun. And we deal with the fact that she only has so much energy. She's spending so much time holding her body together that she can barely do some of the magic. And so in one of the stories, she actually collapses from exhaustion. And one of the other heroes has to stand guard over her while she regains her strength to continue with the magic. Because I don't want magic to be the vast panacea
Okay.
that resolves every story.
Now, you use Kickstarter a lot. How's your last Kickstarter doing, or how did it do?
It did very well. We have done 11 Kickstarters. Where one of the Kickstarters we were going to do is actually going to be a series of trade paperbacks we'll release at Christmas. Um, and we decided we're going to do that one on Indie Planet. But everyone else is a Kickstarter, and basically we run the Kickstarter for 30 days, and whatever we get from that Kickstarter gets rolled over into the next Kickstarter. So our Kickstarter runs February 1st and August 1st, and we do our very best to start on the exact dates.
Rick?
And then it ends September. It ends September 1st, and so we're just waiting on the funds to come through from Kickstarter to pay the printer and to pay the artists as we roll into the next round. We already have the artists starting doing the art on the next round of comics for February. If you worked for Marvel, you have to do a page a day. If you work and they publish every month. We publish every 6 months. So you really have to be able to do a page a week. If we're publishing every 26 weeks and the comic's 20 pages long, that gives you 20 weeks to do a full comic. And then we have 4 weeks for the Kickstarter, and then 2 weeks while we're waiting for funding, and that's 26 weeks, and then we're ready to go to the next one. I've lost you here, Rich.
Yeah, I lost you for a sec too, but going to wrap it up anyway. Then,
Yeah, but I get you back now.
yep, I got you too. But might as well wrap it up right now. We'll wrap it up.
But I'm having trouble hearing you.
We're going to wrap it up. That's okay. Unless you want to add anything.
Sure. Well, I hope you can come to our website. It's g-man-comics. We did buy it where it all runs together as one long word, gmancomics.com. For both of them, you can see our heroes. You can see our covers. We've had a lot of famous guest stars. You can take a look and see that. We've got another Kickstarter coming in February, which is a decent amount of time away. And we'll have some trade paperbacks coming out through Indie Planet, and we're planning on doing a push for that at Christmas. And then our Simon and Kirby, the Agent comic, is going to be retitled as Simon and Kirby the G-Men, and that's available in comic shops now. The first issue was solicited last month. The second issue is in the solicitations right now, and that should hit comic shops in November. I seem to have lost you again.
Yeah, I kind of going out in and out a bit now. As I said, might as well. We should probably wrap it up then.
I'm not sure if you got that.
But can you hear me, Rick? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cutting out, so we'll just wrap it up right now.
Yeah, you're frozen on my end. I can hear some sound, though. Well, I'm assuming we're still recording, so because
Yes, we
I see the
are.
time, but it does appear to be frozen. But if you'd like to know more about G-Man Comics, we have all the Who's Who books that we do. The characters are on the website under Heroes and Villains. Under
Still
Creators, you can see
recording,
all the
yes.
creators who've contributed. We've got a lot
Just
of guest
cutting out
stars
too
who've
much.
created some beautiful covers for us. Stephen Butler's been my buddy for years. He worked with me when I was at Archie, and he's done a variety of very beautiful covers for us too. But we have a lot of talented cover artists. How you doing, Rich?
Yeah, I keep cutting out. So here, see, wrap it up. We'll just wrap it up.
I met Rich probably 20 years ago when I was working at Archie. He was doing reviews for Archie, and he reviewed absolutely everything that Archie published. And so that was really nice. And one day at First Comics News, we had a little feature where we had asked for people who wanted to volunteer to do reviews, and Rich volunteered, and we've been working together ever since, and it's been a long time. It's actually amazing how many reviews Rich puts out in a given year. And then he does a lot of interviews with a lot of creative people. We're real big on promoting indie comics. Even before I was producing indie comics, always had a love for indie comics. Early when the direct market started, the Elementals and Bill Black's Fun Comics, which turned into FemForce, Grendel, really early favorites, and so I've always been a big
Rick,
supporter of indie comics, and
sound's kind of
Rich is
going in
too.
and out, so maybe
So we kind of agree on these
wrap it
things,
up.
and so it's nice to be Rich's first guest on his podcast.
So thank you, Rick. Am I coming through for you? Thank you. Just want to say thank you for doing the podcast. We're going to end it here.
I don't know how much of it you get. You're kind of frozen on my end, at least the video. I'm hearing some audio now, but the audio was kind of frozen too. I don't know how much of this you got, but now I'm getting a real clear
Oh, yeah.
picture on my end.
Yeah, it's doing the same thing on my end. So, as I said, let's wrap it up. We'll end it here.
Oh, let's see. Okay.
Yeah, no, we got to stop it then. There.